These are the 49er players that you need to pay attention to as the San Francisco 49ers get ready to kick off for their very first game of the year. It is preseason against the Raiders, but it still means a lot because you have players who are out here trying to earn roster spots, trying to solidify their place on this team. So there are definitely plenty of guys to look for. Now, we're obviously not going to be pinpointing starters because as Kyle Shanahan said on KNBR, there likely will be no starters that will be playing in this game. So we are going to identify the guys on the back end of the roster who are fighting for spots, trying to make this team. And we are going to start out with one of the guys that you really need to keep an eye on, Ty Davis Price. We have made a lot about Ty Davis's Price emergence throughout training camp. To me, he was heading into this season on the bubble. He had a really down first year, really poor training camp, and really didn't become active at all in many 49er games last season. And we know Jordan Mason kind of definitely jumped him on the depth chart. But Ty Davis Price has had a phenomenal training camp, and that is a guy that I want you to look out for and pay attention for in this game because I think he is going to get a lot of run. And what you're going to be able to see is his decisive running style. You're going to be able to see his one cut go mentality. Not only one cut go, but he has a really, really solid, basically contact balance. His ability to shift his hips while keeping his body upright, he has really good balance and he invites contact. So Ty Davis Price is a guy that I want you to look out for. I think he will have a really, really big game. Sticking on the offensive side of things, Braden Willis, tight end out of Oklahoma, the rookie 7th rounder, is definitely a guy that you need to pay attention to against the Raiders. I think he's going to get a lot of run today. I think you're going to see him and see what we saw in training camp, which was him going out and making a lot of plays as a pass catcher. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be looking for personally is how he is able to hold up as a blocker, but I do think he will stand out as a pass catcher. So he's definitely a guy that you need to keep an eye on. Also, we're going to stick with the offensive room in general. You need to look at the wide receiver room. I don't think we're going to see Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings. Obviously, Ray McLeod is down with an injury. But guys like Danny Gray, Tay Martin, Chris Conley, Willie Snead, Isaiah Winstead, Ronnie Bell, Daz Newsome, those are guys that you're going to be paying attention to. Specifically, Tay Martin, Ronnie Bell, and Chris Conley. Those three guys, I think, are vying most heavily for this potential spot that is left by Ray McLeod's injury. So I think those guys you need to pay attention to. Willie Snead had a really good training camp, but it will be interesting to see if he makes the roster or the 49ers feel comfortable getting him on the practice squad. But those are guys that definitely want to pay attention to throughout this game. And obviously, I don't think it needs to be stated, but Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, all eyes are going to be on the San Francisco 49ers quarterback position. Trey Lance is going to get the start. He will get the first half, according to Kyle Shanahan, and that's what we want to see. We want to see Trey Lance come out here, have a clean game, show his refined mechanics, show his accuracy. Those are what we're looking for. We know he's got the big arm. We want to see the refined accuracy and the refined throwing mechanics, comfortability within the pocket, ability to move around in the pocket, not escape out of the pocket, but move around, reset, throw, and be accurate. Be able to work through his progressions, those types of things. And of course, Sam Darnold, I want to see Sam Darnold be aggressive, but take care of the football. With one of the things with Sam Darnold, he does seem a little timid at times in regards to putting the ball in harm's way, and rightfully so. When you have as many turnovers as he does throughout his career, you're going to be sensitive to that. But I want to see him still show an aggressive nature while taking care of the football. So obviously, all eyes are going to be on the 49ers quarterbacks. But when we look at the offensive line, I think guys you're going to have to really keep an eye on are guys like tackle Leroy Watson, because I don't think Jalen Moore will be practicing or playing today. I don't think Trent Williams will be playing today. So your starting left tackle for the 49ers could be Leroy Watson today. So he's the guy you want to keep an eye on. Nick Zakelj, you want to keep an eye on the interior. John Feliciano. There's a lot of backups that are trying to compete for one of the 8 spots on the roster. So those are guys that you want to keep an eye on as well. So we'll see who steps up and makes a case to make this roster. Switching over to the defensive side, I really want to see Cleveland Farrell play. I think Cleveland will play, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for him to go up against the Raiders, his former team, that did not choose to resign him last year. I think if you give Cleveland Farrell 2 to 3 drives, I think that would be great. Be able to showcase his ability as a run stuffer as well as a pass rusher. I really want to see what Cleveland does. Javon Kinlaw is a name that we definitely got to pay attention to. Javon, I think what you're looking for with him is looking at that first step get off, looking at the explosion, looking at his leaner body, looking at what he's been able to work on and see how it translates into a game type scenario. I think Javon Kinlaw is going to get a lot of reps in this particular game. He probably will be a starter in this game. So Javon Kinlaw is definitely a guy you want to keep your eyes on. Austin Bryant, he's been an intriguing player. He's very fast, and as an edge player, he could find a role as a situational pass rusher on this team. So I want to see what Austin Bryant looks like. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on Austin Bryant, but of course, we want to see rookie 5th rounder Robert Beal. We want to see what he looks like. We want to see if Taco Charlton could be a guy that makes an impact. Also, on top of that, Alex Barrett, he has been quietly making a case to make the 53-man roster after being on the practice squad for so many years. He is a guy that I definitely want to keep an eye on and see what his rotation looks like and if he has a chance to make this final roster, because that would be a phenomenal story. The linebackers are crazy good, and we are going to be able to see those guys on display. Uh, the starters right now look like Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Oren Burks. I'm looking at guys like Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, and D. Winters, Jalen Graham. Those are the guys that I really want to see come out and have a day. They have been performing well in training camp, specifically Marcelino McCrary-Ball, who I think is fighting for a roster spot right now, but has proven he's deserving of one. And if he continues to go out and have a good preseason, just like he did last year, I think he has an opportunity to make this roster. So we'll see how this linebacker core does, but they should be one of your top targets to watch in this game coming up. Also, last but not least, defensive backs. We are going to be keeping our eyes on guys like Deshaun Jameson and Ambry Thomas. I feel like those guys are in the middle of a battle right now to see who will have that last cornerback spot. We know Darrell Luter Jr. is going to make the roster. He probably won't play today, but we'll probably see a lot of Deshaun Jameson and Ambry Thomas. And I want to see Deshaun Jameson rise a little bit here. He has an opportunity to edge out Ambry Thomas, who had another kind of lackluster training camp. So I want to see what Deshaun Jameson does today. Samuel Womack has been a phenomenal player throughout training camp yet again. He was last year and throughout preseason. His spot is solidified, so not too worried about him, but interested to see most primarily between Ambry Thomas and Deshaun Jameson. And of course, Jair Brown. We want to see what the rookie 3rd rounder looks like out there, see what he looks like in the box. So far, from what I've been able to evaluate from Jair Brown, is he looks really good in the box. I want to see him in coverage now. I want to see him challenged. I want to see how he plays the center of the field. I want to see what he does in those types of scenarios. If they put him in single high, that's what I want to see from Jair Brown. So Jair Brown is going to play a lot today. So I want to see what the rookie is cooking out there. And of course, last but not least, kicker Jake Moody. We want to see Jake Moody go out there, get some opportunities at some long kicks. I think if the 49ers find themselves in 45 yards out, they are going to gladly trot out Jake Moody, even if it's like a 4th and 1, they have an opportunity to go for it. I think it's a great opportunity to bring out Jake Moody and show him what he's got. So those are, I went through the whole roster of guys that I think you should be paying attention to. And again, it's a lot of names, But those are the guys that I think have the most to prove, most to earn from this particular game. It's preseason week 1, and we know what it is. Preseason is preseason. It's slightly weighted in the grand scheme of everything, but this is an opportunity for guys to show just enough to edge out another player, build some momentum, and who knows? We'll see what happens as a result. But those are my players to watch against the Raiders coming up at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You let me know in the comments below which players you're going to be keeping your eyes on in this game. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.